Welcome to 24/7 Updates, your daily source for global events and breaking stories. It started with a tremor, not in the earth, but across global news screens. The world, so used to the usual cycle of headlines, suddenly found itself gripped by a story that seemed almost too big to believe. Newsrooms everywhere scrambled to verify the details as the first whispers turned into a roar. Headlines blared, Philippines sitting on trillions, the new Saudi Arabia of tech? The story spread like wildfire, dominating every major outlet, from newspapers to social media feeds. People everywhere stopped to read, to watch, to wonder what this could mean for the world. On August 1, 2025, the world's attention snapped to the Philippines. A country often overlooked on the global stage was now at the center of a storm, its name on the lips of presidents, CEOs, and everyday people alike. In Manila, the financial district buzzed with unprecedented energy. Stock tickers soared to record highs as investors rushed to get a piece of the action. Government officials scrambled for emergency press conferences, their faces a mix of excitement and anxiety, as they addressed a nation on the brink of transformation. On the streets, crowds gathered around TVs and radios, their conversations electric with hope and disbelief. Strangers became friends as they speculated about what this windfall could mean for their families, their futures, and their country. For a nation long struggling with economic challenges, this felt like a winning lottery ticket. Families hugged, neighbors celebrated, and for the first time in a long while, the air was thick with optimism. Dreams that once seemed impossible now felt within reach. But this was more than a local story. It was a global seismic event. Newsrooms from New York to London to Beijing ran urgent broadcasts, analysts scrambling to predict the ripple effects that would soon be felt in every corner of the globe. In Tokyo, Washington, and Berlin, emergency meetings convened at lightning speed. The world's supply chain, already fragile, was about to be upended. Leaders debated late into the night, aware that the balance of power was shifting before their eyes. For years, advanced economies depended on a single nation for the materials powering everything from smartphones to fighter jets. The world's technological heartbeat relied on a delicate supply chain, vulnerable to disruption and political tension. Now, the Philippines had emerged, not as a minor source but as a potential titan. The country's vast reserves promised to rewrite the rules of global trade, giving it leverage and influence it had never known before. The implications were staggering. New alliances, new rivalries, and a new center of gravity in the global economy. Old partnerships were suddenly in question, as nations scrambled to secure their own interests in this new world order. Geologists spoke of deposits so vast they defied belief. The scale of the discovery was unprecedented, with experts calling it one of the most significant finds of the century. The ground beneath the Philippines was now the most valuable real estate on Earth. Economists calculated potential revenues in the trillions, enough to transform the nation forever. The numbers were dizzying, sparking debates about how this newfound wealth could be managed, and who would benefit most. This was no longer just about minerals. It was about power, opportunity, and the responsibility of holding the keys to the world's technological future. The choices made now would echo for generations, shaping not just the Philippines but the entire world. The Philippines had the world's undivided attention. The pressure was on. Every move would be watched, every decision scrutinized, as the nation stood at the crossroads of history, ready to shake the world once more. The frenzy began not with a dramatic announcement, but with a ripple that quickly grew into a tidal wave of excitement across the nation. It all started with a quiet academic report, barely noticed at first, quietly circulating among scientists and government officials. On July 8, 2025, the Philippine Mines and Geosciences Bureau published a dense technical study that would soon change the course of the country's history. Hidden within the scientific jargon was a revelation. Unprecedented concentrations of rare earth elements had been discovered deep in the Philippine Trench, a finding that stunned even the most seasoned geologists. The discovery was almost accidental, a byproduct of mapping tectonic plates and studying the ocean floor, never intended to uncover such a treasure. Instead of the usual minerals, scientists found massive, easily accessible deposits of neodymium, dysprosium, terbium, and yttrium, elements essential for modern technology, from smartphones to electric vehicles. Once the report's significance hit the markets, the reaction was explosive. Investors scrambled, and the Philippine Stock Exchange saw record surges as the world realized the magnitude of the find. Overnight, the Philippines was transformed into a treasure chest, catapulted to the center of global strategy and international attention. News outlets around the world broadcast the story, and the nation's name was on everyone's lips. The president's office was flooded with urgent calls from world leaders, each eager to secure a stake in the newfound wealth and influence. Diplomats scrambled to discuss mining rights, strategic partnerships and long-term alliances, knowing that whoever partnered with the Philippines would shape the future of global technology. In just a few weeks, the Philippines became indispensable to the global economy, with new construction projects and trade deals springing up almost overnight. National pride soared as Filipinos celebrated this historic moment, but so did the pressure. Business leaders and policymakers debated how to manage the sudden influx of attention and opportunity. For the first time, the country could set its own terms on the world stage, negotiating from a position of strength and confidence. But with newfound power came a heavy burden: how to ensure that this incredible wealth would benefit all Filipinos, not just a privileged few. Debates erupted in communities and parliament alike. The choices made now would define the nation for generations to come, shaping not only the economy, but the very identity and future of the Philippines. What are these rare earth elements that have shaken the world? They're a group of 17 metals, not truly rare but rarely found in high concentrations. That's what makes the Philippine discovery so monumental. These elements, like neodymium and dysprosium, are essential for smartphones, wind turbines, electric vehicles, and advanced military tech. They're the vitamins of modern industry, powering everything from green energy to fighter jets. For decades, China supplied over 90% of the world's rare earths, wielding immense leverage. The Philippine find offers the first real chance to break that monopoly. Diversifying supply could stabilize prices and reduce geopolitical risk. This isn't just about money, it's about rebalancing global power. The world is watching. The global gold rush began, this time for rare earths. Investment firms and mining giants flooded Manila, eager for a stake. The Philippine government was inundated with offers, technology, capital, expertise. Diplomats from the US, Japan, and the EU arrived, promising partnerships, aid, and military cooperation. The world's power structure shifted overnight, especially in Beijing. China's near monopoly was under threat. Their strategy was being urgently re-evaluated. For the Philippines, this was both opportunity and danger. The nation could leverage superpower competition for the best deals, or risk becoming a pawn. The stakes were not just economic, but about sovereignty and the future. Navigating this landscape would require skill, unity, and vision. The world waited for Manila's next move. Across the Philippines, the discovery sparked pride and anxiety. For many, it was a chance for real change, new jobs, new industries, a brighter future. But memories of broken promises and corruption lingered. Would the wealth build schools and hospitals or enrich only a few? Fishermen, farmers, and indigenous communities worried about their lands and livelihoods. Environmental risks loomed large, yet for the first time the Philippines was on the world stage as a key player. The nation debated its future in coffee shops and online, demanding wise leadership. This was more than economics. It was a test of national character. The promise of prosperity is intoxicating, but the dangers are real. The Philippines has a painful history with mining disasters, like the 1996 Marcopper tragedy, which poisoned rivers and ruined lives. Rare earth mining is especially risky. It can release toxic chemicals and radioactive waste. Environmental cleanup costs can be astronomical, often left to taxpayers. Activists warn, don't let the allure of trillions blind the nation to irreversible damage. Strict regulations, independent monitoring, and clear cleanup plans are essential. The echoes of past disasters are a warning. If not managed responsibly, the nation's greatest treasure could become its greatest curse. The stakes couldn't be higher. The discovery has ignited a fierce national debate. On one side, those who see rare earths as a ticket to prosperity, jobs, infrastructure, a leap into the developed world. On the other, environmentalists and local communities who fear the loss of irreplaceable ecosystems and cultural heritage. The Philippines is a biodiversity hotspot, already under threat. Indigenous peoples demand respect for their land and a fair share of benefits. The real challenge: can the nation balance progress with preservation? Can it harness underground wealth without destroying what's above? This requires more than policy. It needs consensus and justice. The outcome will shape the nation's soul. The great debate is underway. Manila has become a global diplomatic hub overnight. Major powers are vying for influence and access to the new resources. The US offers military aid and tech partnerships, the EU promises high environmental standards and regulatory support. Japan proposes technology transfer and building local processing plants, creating skilled jobs. China, the established giant, offers capital and experience, while quietly seeking to maintain its dominance. Each suitor frames their offer as a win-win, but the stakes are high. The Philippine government is at the center, weighing every proposal. The world's eyes are on Manila. The choices made now will echo for decades. The nation must choose wisely. The Philippines stands at a historic crossroads, a moment that will define not just the present, but generations to come. The nation's future hangs in the balance, shaped by the decisions made today. One path beckons with the promise of harnessing the country's vast mineral wealth, an opportunity to transform the nation's economy, create jobs, and lift millions out of poverty. But this path is fraught with danger. If pursued recklessly, it could lead to irreversible environmental destruction, leaving scars on the land and the people. Another path urges restraint, leaving the treasure buried beneath the earth, preserving the country's rich biodiversity and natural beauty. Yet this choice means foregoing a powerful tool to fight poverty, improve lives, and build a brighter future for all Filipinos. But there is a third, more challenging path: wise, responsible stewardship. This path demands vision, courage, and a commitment to balance progress with preservation. It means enacting strong, transparent governance, upholding strict environmental laws, and ensuring that local communities are not left behind, but instead become partners and beneficiaries in the nation's growth. The wealth generated must be invested wisely, in education that empowers the youth, in healthcare that reaches every corner of the archipelago, and in sustainable infrastructure that stands the test of time. The task ahead is monumental. It requires unity among Filipinos, vigilance from leaders and citizens alike, and a shared determination to protect both people and planet. The world is watching closely, not just for the minerals beneath the soil, but for the example the Philippines sets in shaping its destiny. The choices made here will resonate far beyond its shores. Will the nation succumb to the resource curse that has plagued others, or will it rise to set a new global standard for responsible development and environmental care? The decisions made today are not just for this generation, but will echo through the centuries, shaping the lives of children yet unborn. The hope of a nation, and indeed the hope of the world, is that the Philippines chooses wisely. The future begins now, and it is in the hands of every Filipino.